We're here with Melissa Schilo. She just recently took a new role as VP of Account Management at JLL, who has their own Flex group. So we'd love to hear about that. Melissa, we have to dive into like the start of your career, but you've been in Flex. You're like a true OG. Started with Servcorp, and Servcorp I feel like goes a little under the radar in most conversations because they're a public company, an Australian public company, but have some gorgeous locations around the world. Very high end, beautiful urban core type of brand. We won't spend a lot of time on Servcorp, but you kind of grew up with Servcorp, moved to the US to open Servcorp locations, and then what? Tell us the Melissa story.
Great. Well, hi everyone. I started back in the flex industry in 2006 with Servcorp in Perth, Western Australia. I was how did you take that job? Because before that, you had a very unique role that no one has before they do Flex. So since this is the Uncensored podcast, you have to tell. Gio doesn't even know. Gio's like, what is it? Tell us about your very first career. My very first career, I was in the modeling industry as a booking agent. It's very similar to what we do. It's all direction and strategy.
Interesting. Okay.
Models instead of office space.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I started in the modelling industry and was working as a booking agent, and I worked in Melbourne and in Perth, Western Australia, and there was a little bit of a tragic end to that. My mentor passed away, and I just, in the last email she wrote me, she said to me, "You're bigger than this. You're bigger than Perth. You should be working for an international company that's going to send you around the world." And so I happened to start working in a little bit of recruitment for a friend of mine, and the job for Servcorp came up, and I thought, this is and like within months. So, and I started with Servcorp. We had no idea what service offices were, and I thought, this is it's under the radar now, even with Servcorp, but because they actually want to be an unbranded environment so that the companies feel like and own all of the space themselves. But I started there in 2006 and ended up traveling all over the world with Servcorp and opening and expanding, and I loved it. And when we had the opportunity to come out to the United States, I grabbed it, and all the clients, I was working in global accounts there, and all the clients were in America. So I was like, I have to go. And so the CEO was he is an incredible human being, and I learned so much about the flex industry from him. He's been in the industry over 40 years now, and he's done fantastic work, and I honor and cherish the time that I spent there, because I wouldn't be where I am without it. And after Servcorp, I finished up in Servcorp in 2017. The industry was going in a lot of different directions, and so were the corporate clients and the occupiers. So I was like, I'm going to start my own consulting business. So that's
not very many people. I mean, Gio might be, I don't know. Yeah, you'd grow. You're like, I know, I've been doing this for years and years. I'm glad you're all getting on board now.
Yeah. Sexy, right? That only just started getting sexy. And they have no idea half the time what I was doing and who I was working for, because it was such a hard industry to explain. So I just said, look, it's just like hotels, but like for offices. And then it became sexy. So now we're in that. We're sexy.
Totally.
So speaking of sex, have you always had those bangs, or is that
your signature look?
It's the only look I have.
It's fabulous. I mean, keep going. That's what I think.
It's the only look I have. And I actually have curly hair, so I have to straighten it every day.
Oh my gosh. Every day?
Yeah. Wow. Every day. Yeah.
Wow.
That's commitment and passion right there.
Yeah, my mum gave me bangs, and it's just been my staple. So, and every 30 years it comes in fashion. So I have to live with it all day. But yes, my parents are back in Australia, so I'm out here on my own. But they gave me the bangs, and this is where I am, and this is the face I've
Your
got.
legacy. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you kind of tapped into after Servcorp, you jumped in and were doing your consulting thing. At what point did you make the transition to JLL, and what did that look like ultimately? Because it's been an evolution for sure from the time you joined to where you are today.
Yeah. So Melissa Ainsley, who also is now with JLL, she is an incredible occupier advisory. She's in an occupier advisory role here in JLL. We started the consulting business together. She was back in instant offices days, and we worked together so much back from 2010 that when I transitioned out of Servcorp, we just said, look, we should do this and together. So we did that for about 2.5 years, and JLL came knocking on our door. So that was fantastic. And they came and said, look, do you want to join? And I was like, I've worked my butt off in this consulting business for 2.5 years. I'm not sure if I want to go and do this and stop everything that I was doing for investors. But ultimately, the only way, and Ben Munn said to me, the only way you're ever going to be able to stay in this industry and scale is if you join JLL, because you'll have a whole team of people behind you that can support and grow flex solutions for investors and occupiers. So I was like, you know what, that is so right. And they sucked me in, as I can. And I loved it. I'm really an autonomous worker. And Melissa's in Europe, so we were never sitting in the same office together. And I didn't realize until I went and just met Ben in person and the team in person they came to Atlanta for a retreat. I didn't realize how much I'd missed a team. We talk about collaboration in Flex. You don't realize how powerful that is until you step away. And so that sold me. It sold me. And I actually got in my car and I cried.
I just had a moment of this is the right thing, and it's it. Gio and I just interviewed Mark Rose, who's the CEO and chairman of Avison Young, and he's very compelling and very authentic and very passionate about people and culture and mental health. And I asked Gio, I said, Gio, you were a solo guy, like kind of what you and Melissa were doing. And they're, right, a lot of people, that's like their personality, right? Like some people say like, I'm unemployable, sort of like I got to do my own thing, which strikes me as Gio. And I was like, Gio, was it, lonely? Because to your point, there's a lot of like power that comes from working for yourself, but some lonely moments. I've found that when doing the podcast with Gio, right? I do a lot of stuff on my own. And to your point, like humans really need each other. I mean, it's better together.
Yeah, even as autonomous as I like to work, I get a lot more done on my own, but it's just not enough. And for me to even come to say that, it's a lot. So I love working with the team, and under Jacob, he has grown our team substantially with such incredible talents from the industry. And it's just so nice to be able to share this life with them, because it is our lives, because it's not work. I just love working with the people that we have in our team. And it has changed my perspective so much in the last couple of years. So I'm loving it. I've truly found my home here.
So I know Gio wants to work, but I have to, so talk about like, what is your role? Who do you serve? What do you help them with?
Yeah, my love of Flex is all about the investor, growing, seeing the asset. What can we put into an asset that's going to have a creative value? How can we, strategize cross-functional amenities and really driving value for the asset owner and the investor? So that's really where my focus is all in investor partnerships. So I'm working with our existing locations and working with those owners on growing that business, and sort of working also with this, sort of the whole sales process, if you will, starts from, you know, what is right for the asset, what is the right solution. We go in and present that. And then as we develop the spaces, and we have our own internal design and build team, which is incredible now, it's I work through that with that investor through the whole life cycle of the journey. Having been in operations and opened, expanded, and taken over flex spaces all over the world, I'm able to be that resource to that investor for all those sort of operational perspectives and, you know, then the reporting and so forth. So I'm taking it sort of full circle with them.